This is VOA News. Via remote, I'm Marissa Melton. The University of Washington's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation says if current trends continue, the coronavirus death toll in the United States could reach 208,000 by November. In a news release Tuesday, the Institute said if 95% of people wear a mask in public, the death toll could be as low as 162,000. The Institute's director, Dr. Christopher Murray, said making masks compulsory could have, in his words, huge economic benefits by staving off the need to keep businesses closed. Murray said the United States never experienced what he called a true end to the first wave of the virus. But he said that doesn't mean there won't be a second wave starting around September when cooler weather allows the virus to live longer and people staying indoors makes it easier for the virus to spread. Murray said the second wave will hit hardest in states already seeing high rates of infection. If conditions stay the same by November 1st, the state of New York is expected to see a death toll up to 32,000. Florida could have a toll as high as 17,000. California is predicted to have a 16,000-person death toll, and the estimate for Texas is 13,000 people. Those estimates were made assuming social distancing mandates would go back into place if a state's death toll goes as high as 8 people per million. The institution says if conditions stay the same, Florida could hit that milestone by October 1st. Experts at the World Health Organization Tuesday acknowledged there's growing evidence that coronavirus can spread through the air and said they are preparing a brief on the subject. The UN agency's regular briefing in Geneva, the technical director for WHO said her committee is studying the matter. That's Maria van Kerkhove. From Washington, you're listening to VOA News. The European Union's economy minister said on Tuesday that the EU's economy will shrink more in 2020 and recover less in 2021 than originally forecast. At a Brussels news conference, EU economy minister Paolo Gentiloni told reporters the COVID-19 pandemic has hit the European economy harder than previously expected. He's predicting the grouping of 19 EU nations that use the euro as their currency will see a record decline of 8.7% this year and growth of 6.1% in 2021. The pandemic has prompted businesses to shutter, travel between nations to stop, and citizens to stay home in most European nations. Gentiloni said the lifting of lockdown measures is proceeding at a more gradual pace than anticipated. He said the forecast suggests France, Italy, and Spain, who are among the nations hit worst by the pandemic, will see the most severe economic contractions, while Germany, the Netherlands, and Poland will see milder economic downturns. Gentiloni said the lack of a Brexit deal with Britain will leave its trade status with the grouping uncertain and would be a negative outcome for both sides, though particularly negative for the UK. Russia and China vetoed a UN Security Council resolution on Tuesday, potentially shutting down a 6-year-old cross-border aid operation that assists millions of Syrian civilians in the northwestern part of the country. Belgium's UN ambassador vowed to keep negotiating for a consensus. Belgium and Germany drafted and guided negotiations on the failed resolution. The ambassador said the council should strive for unity to help Syrians in need. The existing resolution expires July 10th. So there are 2 more days for the 15-nation council to reach a compromise and keep the aid flowing. The United States said Tuesday it was restricting visas to Chinese officials over the issue of Tibet, renewing a call for meaningful autonomy in the predominantly Buddhist region. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said he's taking the action against an unspecified number of officials under a new U.S. law that presses China to let Americans visit Tibet. Pompeo said Beijing has systematically obstructed American diplomats' access to the region, while Chinese officials have far greater access to the United States. The State Department declined to name the officials or say how many people were affected, citing U.S. confidentiality laws. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador is due to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump on his first official visit to Washington on Wednesday. Meantime, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has turned down the White House invitation, citing the pandemic. Via remote, I'm Marissa Melton.